forgot to. Okay, welcome everyone. Hello and welcome to day 4 of Holistic Autonomy. I just want to review really quickly what we've talked about this week. So on day 1, we talked about the preferred representational system, the PRS, like are you a visual, an auditory, a kinesthetic, or an AD, audio digital? Are you more of the thinking modality? We talked about the NLP communication model and how we receive 11 million bits of data every second. Imagine a dump truck full of 11 million toothpicks and it falls on you. You can only capture 134 consciously. The rest of that information is deleted, distorted, and generalized. And that happens through our filters. And our filters are things like our memories, our experience in life, our cultural values, religion, school, even things like our meta programs, which just refers to our neurology. And are we a global thinker or are we more in the specifics and the details? Do we process internally where we take information inside and we make our decisions and check internally, or are we an external check? Those are things like meta programs. All of that is filtering. And then we get to that IR, internal representation. Do you have a picture? When you think of your first pet, do you have a picture? Yes. Right? So the mind, the unconscious mind, stores all of that memory, all of our life experience in the way of picture movies. And those internal representations create our state. Are we stressed? Are we anxious? Are we happy? Are we joyous, excited, anticipation, adventure, fun? That state creates our physiology, literally our neuropeptides, neurotransmitters, the hormones, all of the chemical brain activity, which is also in your gut, as many of you know, right? They're calling it the second brain nowadays, is the gut, right? Because you manufacture the vast majority, something like 90% of your neurotransmitters and peptides in your gut, not in your brain, even though eventually those molecules make their way up to your brain and throughout your nervous system. Anyway, so back to PRS, right? Or the NLP communication model. So that physiology creates your behavior. If you're flooding hormones of stress, like cortisol and adrenaline, through your system, you're more likely to be in your sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, freeze. And if you're more running the neurotransmitters of dopamine or oxytocin, you're likely to be relaxed and you have a more holistic view of things. Remember Hakalau, where we developed our peripheral vision? And those states of relaxation and ease and feeling safe and secure are going to lead to a completely different host of behaviors. So using the NLP communication model, we really understood how we produce the behaviors that we do in response to our environment, external environment that we take in through our 5 senses. So we talked about the NLP communication model and the prime directives of the unconscious mind. Specifically, we focused on memory, right? Because those picture movie memories of your life are encoded with other information, in particular emotional information, which is why when we get to the negative thoughts and emotions piece of the processes I'm teaching you, it's so important to recognize those. It doesn't mean that we're bad or faulty for having negative thoughts and emotions. It means we're human and that we deserve to release those negative thoughts and emotions so that we can get to that next level of neurological growth and development. So on day 2, we talked about, was it alignment? Or was it was alignment, right? On day 2, we talked about alignment. So alignment is that continuous feedback process of knowing what you want, feeling the positive emotions and the positive thoughts about that, and then taking action. And as soon as there's resistance, which we could see as procrastination, doubt, fear, laziness, whatever it is that you're not doing to take action, we can label that resistance. And in that resistance are negative thoughts and emotions about why you can't take that next step forward, which you deserve to release and learn from. And so then we get back into that positive state, positive emotion, positive thought, and then we can take action. And we keep doing that over and over and over again. That's alignment. And then whatever it is that you're manifesting or visualizing or putting on your vision board or listening to affirmations for will come to be because your conscious and unconscious mind are in alignment and you're taking the inspired action. On day 3, we talked about intuition and how about intuition supports all of these processes, because your intuition is the translator between your conscious and unconscious mind. And as we talked about on day 2, or maybe day 1, right, the unconscious mind speaks in symbols. So again, we have that, do you have a picture? We have that internal representation, which is a picture movie for all of those states in your mind. And so on day 3, right, intuition supports this alignment process by showing you the pictures, giving you the symbols in the way of signs or synchronicities or dreams or just things that you encounter on the way. And that those picture symbols, those movies that are in your mind, are how the intuition speaks to you. And then we talked about how to know, what are some of the signs of a developing intuition? How do you continue to develop your intuition? And that was all on day 3. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to record day 3, but I'll try to make some kind of video in our private Facebook group to summarize what I taught on day 3. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome, Victoria. Hello, Susan. And thanks for coming back, Raquel and Kathy, and Karuna signing in. This is wonderful to have all you here. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and start the slides for today, the teaching for today. So as this class has been moving along, I've noticed that I've gone from more teaching, which I did in the beginning, to more process work, right? As we've been going through this class, we first started with a really dense day 1 and 2, where I taught a lot of material. And then on day 3, we started doing more processes. And today we're going to continue doing more process work. I will be teaching some material, but it's basically utilizing the material that you've already learned from days 1, 2, and 3. So knowing the NLP communication model and knowing that you filter information through your 5 senses, your filters delete, distort, and generalize, and then you arrive at these picture movies, the internal representations. Those are encoded with the visual, auditory, kinesthetic detail, as well as your thoughts and emotions at the time that those memories were created in your unconscious mind. So you have those IRs, those create a state, right? Joy, fear, happiness, anticipation, encouragement, willingness, reluctance, right? Create a state which affects your physiology, quite literally the neurochemicals that move through your body that drive your nervous system and your brain, and that produces behavior. So knowing that the NLP communication model, being able to look at your negative thoughts and emotions, make the unconscious content conscious, and then use that information in what we learned on day 2, the alignment process, continuing to feed your negative thoughts and emotions into that feedback loop so you can clear those, right? You deserve to release them because there's valuable learnings inside of those limiting decisions or emotions. And then on day 3, again, we talked about how the intuition supports all this. So let me make sure that this stays on your screen here. All right, so today we are going to talk about vision and impact. So utilizing all of that material from day 1, 2, and 3, you should all now have an answer to this, right? What's something that you really want? And if you've been coming to class daily, right, we did this process. We worked with this process on day 2 and day 3, where this is how you can start to experience this particular feedback cycle, the alignment cycle, which is another way of saying coaching, right? You're coaching yourself, and you're also receiving coaching from me about how to implement this process and how to utilize this process to keep clearing your negative thoughts and emotions. So day 2 and day 3, we did something like this. So if those of you who are in the chat, I would love to hear from you. What is that thing that you're really wanting? And this is something that, you see for yourself. This is your vision. You want to experience this in this lifetime. You want to know what this is. So please share with me in the chat if you have the answer to that question, right? It's what you've been working with as we've been developing this process throughout this class. And if you don't have one, just go ahead and make one up, right? You can make one up right now on the spot by trusting your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is going to deliver exactly the content that you need, that you're ready to see right now, because your unconscious mind also represses thoughts and emotions until it's time for resolution. So if you don't yet have an answer to that question, what's something that you really want, just go ahead and make one up right now. And that's for anyone watching live or who's going to be watching the replay. All right, then I want you to create a picture of that thing that you want in your mind. See it, feel it, hear it, know it, taste it, smell it. Just really immerse yourself in that picture of the thing that you want. I'm going to give you just a few moments to create that picture. And now that you have that picture in your mind and it's infused with all of that data, the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, that's also how you feel about it, and that AD, audio, digital, how you think about it. Now, when you think about why you don't yet have that, what are your negative thoughts and emotions? All right, this is amazing. I am blown away by, in the chat, how aligned you all are right now. So Raquel says, I see it, I know it will happen, an eco-friendly modular home in Nyack, New York. And then Karuna's like, oh, a dreamland and home. And then Michelle's like, an amazing mind, body, spirit wellness center. So I love how in each one of these visions, there's a structure. It's so cool, right? It's just amazing how we all end up like co-creating this stuff together, right? So there's a structure, a home, a wellness center. It's just amazing. All right. So Raquel says money. Money is where Raquel's limiting negative thoughts and emotions are. Oh, look at Susan. Susan's like my perfect housing situation. So this is amazing. Everybody's totally aligned. This is beautiful. All right. So all of you are wanting something to do with home, housing, creating some type of physical location where you can be self-expressed, where you can live your life, where you can live your best life, the life that you're envisioning. Now, what are the negative thoughts and emotions when you think about why you don't yet have it? Those are the things that you deserve to release. And the way that you release them is by extracting the learnings from each of those things. So since Raquel gave me some pretty concrete information there about money, okay, and Michelle says stuck. Now, the next step in the process is, how is that a problem? How is money a problem? Raquel, and Michelle, how is stuck a problem? And let your unconscious mind answer these questions. And I really, this coaching process that I'm like dipping your toes into right now is so powerful. This is part of the breakthrough process that I offer, these longer form breakthroughs that are so powerful because it gets down to these really root causes and limiting decisions. But we only have so much time here, so I'm going to do what I can. All right, so Michelle says it's a problem because she's not moving forward and it feels too hard. So Michelle, when you think it's too hard and you're not moving forward, what do you feel? And Karuna says, take what you get, don't be greedy. Wow, those are really powerful as well. So Karuna, when you think you shouldn't be greedy and just take what you can get, when you think, don't be greedy, Karuna, take what you can get, what do you feel? All right, Michelle, for not moving forward, when Michelle thinks it's too hard and she's not moving forward, she feels frustrated and sad. So that's thank you so much, Michelle, for being our teacher today, right? One of the processes that I want to teach you is the chain of how behavior is created. And it goes thought, feeling, emotion, thought, feeling, behavior. We often think it's our feelings first. And it's very tempting, especially for those of us who feel that we're intuitive and empathic and so on, that we think we're feeling our feelings first, but what we're doing is we're thinking with our feelings. So there is always a thought that precedes the feeling. Thought creates a feeling, feeling creates behavior. Remember that IR, right? Everything is encoded in those picture movies at internal representation. 11 million bits of data filtered down to 134. Those 134, we can create a picture movie for that experience. So thought always comes first. That creates the feeling. The feeling creates the physiology, which creates the behavior. So thought, feeling, behavior. And Michelle's given us an amazing, I'm just going to read it to you like a formula or like an equation. So when Michelle thinks it's too hard and she notices herself not moving forward, right? That's thought, behavior. When she thinks it's too hard and she notices herself not moving forward, she feels frustrated and sad. And I would do a mind read here, Michelle, and guess that you've probably said about a lot of things in life that it's too hard and that you felt frustrated and sad and you haven't taken action. Does that sound accurate? Yeah. So we can know that thought, feeling, behavior cycle in Michelle is accurate because those are very root cause types of statements. And when I asked her if that was so, she nodded her head. And doing this work, I can just tell when someone's in that, when they're really being vulnerable, right? And they're saying exactly what it is. So we keep coaching down until we get down to those root causes. Now, the next step would be Michelle deserves to release frustrated, sad, it's too hard. When Michelle is able to release frustrated and sad and the limiting decision, it's too hard, new opportunities will make themselves known to her because she'll be recovering that unconscious content. When she recovers that unconscious content and sees that there are different opportunities, new perspectives, new ways of seeing this, that's going to change her physiology. She'll have new pictures for what's possible, which will change her physiology, that the neurotransmitters, the neuropeptides, she'll elevate her state. And from that elevated state, she'll create new behavior. It all starts with thought. So let's see, Karuna feels anger and confusion. So Karuna, when you think, Karuna, don't be greedy, take what you can get. And you feel anger and confusion, what do you usually do next? What's the next step? That would be a question for you. Susan says she's in retirement, so she doesn't know if she has enough money to last her lifetime. So therefore, she doesn't know how much she can pay for housing to live the comfortable life she wants. All right, great, Susan. So I would definitely coach you down more on this to examine things like, okay, I'm going to give you a prompt to take this a little bit deeper. So Susan, how is it a problem that you don't know if you have enough money? How is it a problem that you might not be able to live the comfortable life that you want? So those are to take it deeper for you, Susan. How is it a problem that you don't have enough money or that you don't know if you have enough money? How is it a problem that you don't know if you have enough money? How is it a problem that you might not be able to live the comfortable life that you want? So Raquel says in her case, she needs income. I'm stuck because I don't know how to make enough money to get to NIAC. Okay, great. So these are amazing. At this point, right, with Raquel, I'm stuck too because I don't know how to make enough money to get there. So Raquel, when you think about being stuck and you think about not knowing how to make enough money, what are your negative thoughts and emotions? Karuna feels shut down. She's trying to make the best of the current situation. She feels out of inspiration and agency. Wow. Okay. So this is really powerful. So Karuna, when you think, Karuna, don't be greedy, take what you can get, and you feel anger and confusion, you shut down, you're out of inspiration and agency. Karuna, when you think those things and you feel that way, anger and confusion, and you're shut down and you're out of inspiration and agency, what's the impact on your life? What's the impact on you? What's the impact on your family? What's the impact on your community? And what's the impact on the world? Okay. So Raquel, this is amazing. Raquel's overwhelmed trying to do a lot of things to generate the money, but it's very little. And she needs millions to even buy land. So here I would probably, just for the sake of time, we're going to start to crack open some of these beliefs. So Raquel, what would Okay, so Raquel says, I need millions to even buy land. So Raquel, what would happen if you didn't need millions to buy land? It's a possibility. Maybe you don't need millions to buy land. So what would happen if you didn't need millions to buy land? What would happen? What wouldn't happen if you didn't need millions to buy land? What wouldn't happen if you didn't need millions to buy land? I'd be ecstatic and I can move forward. Exactly. So I'd like to offer the possibility, right? In an unlimited quantum universe, there are unlimited possibilities that you could align with the possibility that you don't need millions to buy land. I'd like you to just let your unconscious mind run free right now and envision different ways that you could get land without millions of dollars. And just let those possibilities start to stream in. All right, so yes, frontline and core collapse and Karuna hides. So Karuna is an amazing space holder, community leader, teacher, energy worker, energy healer. Karuna has been on the front lines for as long as I've known her, working in Boston and working with all kinds of populations that don't normally have access to this type of work and material. So Karuna, when you hide, I want to take you even deeper. When you hide, what's the impact on you? What's the impact on your family? What's the impact on your community? And what's the impact on the world? When you collapse and hide, what's the impact? All right, so while you guys are mulling over those, while you beautiful people are mulling over some of those questions, right, I want to move forward, and this is the work that we've been doing, right, as we're getting to vision and goals. Actually, this is a perfect transition, because both of you right now are, well, Raquel's a little bit out of it now, because Raquel's like, oh, there could be possibilities where I don't need millions, right? And I want to support you in continuing to do the neurological change work so that that belief becomes really real, where Raquel's like, yes, out there is a way that I can get that land without millions of dollars, and I'm going to find it. And when Raquel is aligned and believes that there are ways that she can acquire the land that she wants without the current story she's telling about it, she's going to take action and she's going to move forward. So I want to support you in continuing to do that neurological change work so you can change your beliefs and you can start to take action towards that, what you really want. All right, so so let's move on to today's material then, because this is a good segue. So vision and impact. We already reviewed everything that we did on the previous days. I did that at the beginning of the class. Remember this Hakalau, this is a really powerful process. So let's all just go into Hakalau right now, keeping your chin level with the ground. Just let your eyes, and I have to take my baseball cap up. Go to the line, the seam where the eyes, where the wall and the ceiling meet. And keep your gaze there. Notice if there's any strain or stress in the eyes or the forehead or the jaw or anywhere in the face. Just try to soften any muscular tension, keeping the chin level. Just move the eyes. And taking deep breaths in and out of the nose. Becoming more and more relaxed. With each breath. Now, as you hold your gaze there at that seam where the wall and the ceiling meets, as you're doing right now, as you're listening to my voice, notice that your peripheral vision can open. Just let your gaze from the center go soft and awaken to your peripheral field. You're still gazing up, but you're noticing now all that information in your peripheral field. And just notice what's happening to your nervous system as you shift into Hakalau, or NLP learning state. When you're in your peripheral field, your nervous system is in the parasympathetic state. So right now we're all easing in to rest, digest, repair, integration. And this state of Hakalau or NLP learning state will support us in the work that we're going to do today. So go ahead and level your gaze back to eye level, but keep the peripheral vision open. Notice that you can have your eyes forward and you can also be aware of what's around you, maybe even behind you. And then whenever you're ready, you can bring your gaze back to the monitor or your computer or your phone, but try to keep it wide. So you might be looking at the picture on the screen, but I still want you to keep that peripheral vision active. So yesterday we talked a little bit about around day 2, intuition, the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. And that's going to play a big role today. And it has been as you've been doing these processes. Keep that peripheral vision open. And it's that IR, that internal representation, the picture movie. That's how your intuition speaks to you. Or it also may come to you hearing, feeling, or simply knowing. But it's that immediate understanding, and you don't need to think about it. So in developing your intuition, you want to listen to it. So when it shows you something, tells you something, whispers something to you, you want to acknowledge it and say like, hey, cool, my intuition's speaking to me, awesome, and acknowledge that it's happening. Then the next important step is to trust it, because I'm going to speak for myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if other people on this call have experienced the same. There was a certain point in my life that I completely shut down my intuition because I was told I was weird, or I was too sensitive, or I was making things up, or I was crazy. So for a period of several years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, I turned the volume on my intuition way down because of that type of feedback that I had received. So step 2 is trusting your intuition. And here's another layer where we may receive negative thoughts or emotions like, you're making it up, you're too sensitive, you're da da da. Everyone deserves to release those negative thoughts and emotions. Underneath them are your learnings. So when I was able to release, you're weird, you're too sensitive, you're crazy, you're making it up, gaslighting is another word that we use today. I was able to recover that I trust my intuition completely and fully, and that when I do, it never, ever, ever, ever guides me wrong. And some of the biggest and best decisions I've ever made in my life were from a place of pure intuition. Like buying my property in Costa Rica was a 100% intuitive, source created, divinely guided opportunity. Moving from Jersey City, New Jersey in the middle of the pandemic and buying a house in Florida was a completely intuitive hit, and basically seamless process, because I was just like, okay, this is what's happening next, and now it's happening, and it's happening really quickly, and let me just go with it. I could tell that story as a cool story about intuition, because I was like a wild ride. Okay, so you listen to it, you trust it, and then you take the inspired action, right? That last step is essential, because if we don't take inspired action, everything gets stuck up here and it doesn't move into the material world, right? Also trusting the voice and taking that inspired action is that signal back to source, God, universal consciousness, universal awareness, however you want to call it, is perfect, that you want more of that intuitive information, that you're ready for more guidance. So really quickly, I just want to talk a little bit about a couple of my clients that I saw do this. Right up here, this is Morgan Steele. Morgan came to a retreat in Costa Rica with me at Anamaya, which is a retreat center where I teach out there. And she came just to basically take a week's vacation for herself. She lives in Canada. She was working as a dental hygienist. She was quite ambitious, and she had bought a dental hygiene practice where people went for teeth cleanings and basic orthodonty and stuff like that. She wasn't a dentist, she was a dental hygienist, and she opened this business. And then I think she hired a dentist and a bunch of other hygienists, and she was running a dental hygiene center, lab, whatever. But she was stressed out. She worked like 12-hour days, like 7 days a week, and she was making tons of money, but she didn't have the relationship that she wanted. She was always ending up with these guys that like tried to control her and manipulate her or things like that. And she was not happy at all in her relational life. She was stressed out and she had a lot of debt, right? Because she bought this business and she had a fair amount of debt. So we met at the retreat at Anamaya. Then she came back about 6 months later to do the yoga teacher training with me. So she did a 200-hour yoga teacher training with me. And she was like, she was very controlled and she approached everything from her thinking mind. And she would get frustrated at times. She would feel maybe insecure or doubtful about her ability to be a yoga teacher and all these other things. And she was also dealing with her business and really wanting to get out of it, but having no idea what her next steps would be. From the yoga teacher training, she did a 8-month coaching certification program with me, with which the coaching company that I used to work for. And then she did some ongoing coaching with me one-on-one. Now she's a certified hypnotherapist and Reiki master. And she finally bought the cute little A-frame house in the Canadian woods, and she drives the Jeep that she always wanted, and she's like camping, and she got this Barry, like, you know, one of those dudes with like the big beard who wears flannel shirts, and it's like perfect. She created everything that she wanted, and she became who she always was, which is an energy healer and someone who listens to people. And she knew that she was doing this as a dental hygienist. She had people in her chair and she was giving them inspiration and hope, and she was listening to them, and she was hearing their doubts about their teeth, their fears about their appearance, their concerns about their dental health. And she was offering them hope and guidance, but in a very sort of limited way to the way she wanted to be of impact in the world. Now she's a hypnotherapist and Reiki master, and she works with people doing energy healing, and it's pretty amazing. So that happened I met her in 2018, and she did all this by 2021. So in 3 years, she created a brand new life for herself, like literally complete overhaul. Her new life doesn't look anything like her old life. She sold that dental hygiene practice and put that money into developing this business that she now has with her hypnotherapy and Reiki. I don't know if you can hear my dogs barking. They're freaking out about something. All right, hopefully they'll settle down soon. Anyway, and then Neil Madigan down here, I realized that I don't often share about my male clients. Hold on for a second. Let me just see what's going on out there and try to get these dogs to settle down. Hey, come here. Quiet. Quiet. No. All right, let's see how long that lasts. Okay, so it's funny because in this work, we always take, like, part of hypnotherapy is utilizing what shows up. So what showed up was barking dogs. And with every dog bark you hear, you're getting more and more focused and more interested in this material. With every dog bark that you hear, you're actually also becoming more and more relaxed, and your peripheral vision opens again, and you're listening even more intently. So Neil came to me as a private coaching client, and his story is maybe not as like soup to nuts 180 life revamp as Morgan's story, but his story also really matters because what he recovered was the piece that he was missing to have the effect and the impact that he wanted to have with his clients. So Neil and his wife, Sarah, who is here in this picture, run a coaching business mostly around relationship coaching. And Neil himself has a wonderful relationship with his wife. They have a child. But when it came to how to communicate what he experienced in his life to his clients and guide them in the same way that he lives his own life, he couldn't do it. He felt blocked. He felt inauthentic. He had he doubted himself as a coach and as a leader for men in the relationship space. And so through coaching, we discovered that he was holding on to some trauma around his young son, Finn, right here, his development, and something that happened to him when Finn was a baby. And that due to the negative thoughts and emotions he had around that episode, that Neil could not step up and claim that he was a leader and a guide because he had such fears around his ability to care for his own child. So when he released some of those negative thoughts and emotions, and he went through a trauma release and he recovered the information that was deleted, distorted, and generalized, what he recovered was that trust in his intuition, that trust in his spirit. And then he began to teach and guide and do his healing work from that place of intuition, which now he had the trust for again. And then everything changed, and then he felt self-expressed, and their business started to grow, and everything shifted for him. And that was in 6 weeks. And that was just needing to let go of some specific trauma that he had around an event. And when he was able to do that, he was able to recover those lost parts of himself or suppressed parts of his identity. Okay. Oh, so I guess now is as good a time as any to let you know that at the conclusion of this class, I'm going to be launching a 8-week group coaching and learning program. So it's going to be twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to teach a concept from NLP or timeline therapy or coaching. I'm going to teach the concept on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, we're going to coach around it. So every week, I'm going to be giving you learnings, new material to learn and implement with tasking. And then on Thursday, you'll get coached on it. We'll do process work like we've been doing today, meditations, intuitive work. So it's going to be both for your conscious mind, the learning. And when you learn new material, especially about your mind and your language and how you process your experience, you have the tools for continuing to do that alignment process, get out of the negative thought and emotion, get the learnings from that, and then move forward, right? And on those Thursday sessions, I'll be coaching you around what's coming up. I'll be guiding you through the processes. All of that will be supported by the material that you learn on Tuesdays. So it's Tuesday, Thursdays, runs for 8 weeks. It starts on the 6th, Tuesday, the 6th of September, and runs through Thursday, the 27th of October. There will be recordings after each class. You'll have lifetime access to the recordings. And this is my beta launch. This is the first time that I'm offering this. So for everyone here on the call today, I'm offering it for $100 off. Normally it's $2,000, but for this class, I'm offering those 8 weeks for $777. But today it's $100 off. So 8 weeks of twice a week coaching and learning with me for $677 today. And you can come back anytime and do it again, because I'm going to keep continuing this. And do 8-week increments at whatever you pay today. So if you come in at my special $677 price today, you can get 8 weeks of coaching with me for the rest of your life for $677, because you're going to be one of my founding members of my community and of my beta launch program. All right, so that was really quick, and that's called Self-Mastery Movement, because I believe that this is a movement. Those of us who want to truly harness our gifts and use the tools to continue to explore ourselves through our language, through the way that we're filtering our life experience, getting the learnings out of that, we are mastering ourselves, right? I've always been very influenced by Paramahansa Yogananda, the autobiography of a yogi, and the self-actualization fellowship, right? So self-actualization, self-mastery, these are all terms that really appeal to me, because I believe that when we are self-actualized, we are making the biggest impact that we can on our own lives, on the lives of those most important to us, of the lives of our community and of the world. And this is how we create change on planet Earth. So I am a believer and a proponent in self-actualization. And there's also a piece that's important to me, which is when we're not self-actualized, we are suffering. We have some negative thought or emotion. We feel stuck, we feel scared, we feel out of alignment with our purpose. And we experience this as a drain on our energy, or just a dull or depressed mood. And there's so much potential that's being lost when people are not living in joy and feeling that their gifts are available to them and that they're ready to actualize on them. All right. So we're going to do an exercise today. This is going to be our process work today. All right. So the thought exercise, the process for today is, you won the lottery. Woo, 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 woo. and you played the Powerball and you did it, and you got the $10 billion prize, right? You won. There was one winner, and it was you. You picked all the perfect numbers and the Powerball, and you got the whole thing. So you have $10 billion. Okay, I just want you to just take a moment and imagine that this is real, right? Create that internal representation, that picture. Either you get the check, or you see your bank account has, what is that now? 9 digits? Imagine your bank account with 9 digits in it. No, more than 9 digits, I think, because billion has 9 zeros. And then the 10 on top of that. So that's like 10 digits. Your bank account now has 10 digits. So I'd like you to just daydream for a moment. And just think about, what would you do with $10 billion? Just write it in the chat as it comes to you. Yes, the 10 comma club, that's right. What would you do? You know, you will never, ever, 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 ever run out of money. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do now that you have no money objections whatsoever? You can pay off your debt, you can travel, you can buy a home, you can buy 10 homes, you can buy your parents a home, you can buy stocks and bonds, you can buy jewelry, you can give it all away. What are you going to do? Are you going to build or create a foundation? Are you going to build a school? Are you going to just put it into a savings account? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with all that money? So are you going to buy cars? Are you going to buy clothes? Once you have just emptied that out, let's see, what do people say here? Okay, Michelle is going to create the most amazing wellness center on the planet. That's right. Yes, you are. And Susan's going to buy a townhouse in New York City and buy a vacation home in Thailand. Oh, yeah. Thailand's definitely one of my bucket list areas as well. Michelle's going to have a house on the beach and a trust fund for her 3 kids. Amazing. Cool. All right. So now that you know, and now you know that you're never going to have a money problem again. Now that you know that you can do and have whatever you want. Raquel would buy land in Nyack, build her eco-friendly modular home, build a saltwater pool in the back, ooh, with an automatic metal cover so bears cannot get in it. Awesome. Greenhouse, farm, garden in the back or on the roof. Cool. And horses right by the Hudson River. Oh, wow. That sounds beautiful. Karuna would pay off her student loans, her parents' house. She'd invest in healing the soil and permaculture. Wow. There's so much synchronicity in this group. It's really amazing. Okay. So now that you know, right? And it seems like everyone here on this call is already really in line with what they want to do. Because both of you are, everyone's talking about their land, their home, right? Which is in keeping with where we started. What's something that you want? Do you have a picture? Now that you know what you truly want, the land, the town home in New York City, the vacation home in Thailand, all the Nyack, the houses, the horses, all of that. Now that you know what you truly, truly, truly want, what is in the way of you having that? Okay, so you didn't win the lottery. Sorry, one number was off. And we unfortunately read the announcement wrong, and you didn't win the $10 billion. But at least now you know what you want, right? So now that you know what you want, what's preventing you from having that? And I'd like to propose that that thing that you are wanting is the very thing that you deserve to be pursuing, which includes removing and releasing those limiting thoughts and emotions. That's all that's keeping you from it. You can say it's about money, you can say it's about time, you can say it's about relationships, but all of those are just thoughts. It's your mindset. And if you change your mindset, I guarantee you that you can find steps to take that are in alignment with that ultimate vision, and also acknowledge and respect your current life situation. And you can do both of those on parallel at the same time. pursuing your dream and your visions, pursuing your ultimate vision and living your daily life are actually the same thing. It's just we have to remove all that block to you currently believing that you can't do both. That if you pursue your vision, you have to somehow radically alter your life. Yes, your life will change, but it will change in a gradual fashion, in a way that's in alignment with your current level of neurological development. And as you step your neurological development up, you will be more and more able to take on bigger and bigger ideas or things, money. Everything will start to change in that incremental, which becomes exponential fashion. So now that you know what you want, I want to give you some homework for tonight. And the homework is to write a 6-month letter as if it were already true. So you're writing to yourself from the future, right? And some of you have probably done this exercise with me before, or maybe you've heard this exercise before. So this is not rocket science, but this is a really fun homework to do. So today's August 11th, which is the 8th month. So you're writing your letter dated to yourself on February 11th, 2023. February 11th, 2023. And you write that letter to yourself as from that future date to yourself today. So Lola, I'm so glad that you offered that class in August, 6 months ago. I know that you were, that you put it together rather quickly and that you used your intuition to write the material and to deliver the classes every day, because you had spent all that time developing that relationship with your intuition. And when you launched that class, you really doubled down and you let the world and the universe and God and source and everyone know that you were ready to take on more. And so by doing that, now you have, 25 amazing new clients, and you've run the 3rd group of your self-mastery movement program, and you're earning steadily over five figures a month, and you have an amazing relationship and your health is fantastic. And aren't you so glad that you actually did that self-mastery movement thing? You should be so happy that you took the chance on yourself and you did that, because now your life is more incredible than you could have even imagined. Something like that. Right. And I just made that up, but I'm just thinking about like what's happening today, right? And where I would like to see myself. I would love to have a group of clients that come and do this kind of work with me on a weekly basis, and run those for short units, like 8 weeks, and then take a little break, absorb and implement the material and do another one. So your 6-month letter is exactly that. You're writing to yourself from the future as if you're writing to yourself today from you in the future, as if all the stuff that you want already happened. Your money, your relationship, your health, your home, and write it with no holds barred, like no doubt, no, oh, that's impossible, that could never happen. Let yourself go big in that 6-month window. All right, so that's going to be your homework for tonight, is to write yourself that 6-month letter. And I just want to remind you guys, we're going to finish up because we're actually a little bit before the hour. And I think that we're going to end on time today, which is, haven't been ending on time before. Okay. Susan Marin says, Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Okay. I'll have to check that book up. I've never heard that one, but I'm always on the lookout for great books. Raquel says, I am worth all of the abundance in the worthy. Yes, you are. That's right. You absolutely are, Raquel. You are worthy of all the abundance. Yes. And Michelle says, yes, you are. Fantastic. All right. So any questions? Does anybody have any questions about any of the material that we've covered from day one until now? So we started with the prime directives of the unconscious mind, the NLP communication filter. You found out what your preferred representational system is, your PRS. Then on day 2, we talked about alignment, the process of alignment, that feedback loop, and why the negative thoughts and emotions piece is part of the growth cycle, and why we don't need to run away or hide or try to deny our unconscious thoughts and emotions. Those are actually the springboard that's going to take us to that next level of neurological growth. So we talked about alignment on day 2. On day 3, we talked about intuition, what it is, how to get into it, signs that it's increasing, signs that ways to keep building that intuition, and those 3 crucial steps: listening to it, trusting it, and taking action on it, right? Because the more you take action on your intuition, the more intuitive information you're going to get, and the more you're going to be in alignment. Because when you take action, that means you are in alignment. You're moving forward from that positive state. And then today we talked about vision and impact, right? And what's the impact on your life, on your family, on your community, on the world when you take action towards your vision? And what's the impact when you don't, right? Like, we know that Karuna is an amazing, powerful figure in her community. But when Karuna is in confusion and anger and she's shut down, what's the impact? That's a big impact, because Karuna reaches a tremendous amount of people, right? Raquel is an incredible designer. She is a marketing guru. She's an entrepreneur, and she's serving all different types of people, and she's active in many different communities. So if Raquel is frustrated, and if Raquel is, let's see, she can't make decisions, she's overwhelmed. She feels overwhelmed and she's stuck, right? What happens to Raquel's impact when she's stuck and overwhelmed? What happens for her community and her people and her clients? So our vision and the impact that we get to have on the world, it's so much bigger than just ourselves, right? So that's what we did today. And I want to then, and I left you with your 6-month letter homework, right? So that's intended to get you back into that positive state. Remember, if you can create a picture for it, you're already partly there. So this 6-month letter is to help you create those new IRs, those new internal representations, those picture movies in your head. So Raquel has a picture for the house in Nyack on the river with the horses. Michelle has the picture of the wellness center. When you have that picture and you put that into that 6-month letter, your unconscious mind is now seated with that picture. Remember, on day 1 or 2, I showed you a picture of Costa Rica, right? I went there in 2013 and I saw it for the first time. And that picture was associated with that sense of expansion, of wellness, of like, oh my God, I belong here. There's something I'm meant to be doing here. And that picture, the more I ran that picture through my mind, the more and more real it became, and the more motivated I was to go back and keep experiencing it. All right, so today, please do your homework, and I want to just remind you guys one more time about my Self-Mastery Movement group coaching and learning program that will launch in September. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, for 1 hour. 1 hour on Tuesdays, 1 hour on Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to be teaching NLP concepts. We're going to dive even deeper into the NLP communication model, language. I could tell you some of the other topics. I'll write a post in our Facebook group, but NLP, communication, language, unconscious mind, intuition, prime directives of the unconscious mind, meditation, all of these things. I'm going to be teaching this material on the Tuesdays, and then on the Thursdays, we're going to be coaching around it and doing the process work, implementing it. And my goal for everyone coming through this 8-week program is to come out of it with a much higher level of awareness around their language and other people's language, on how to use language to stay in alignment, how to use linguistic processes such as the alignment wheel, exploring the negative thoughts and emotions, to release them, to get the learnings from them so you can take those next inspired action steps. I really want to teach that process so that you have a means for continuing to upgrade and grow new neurology by getting the learnings. So that, and because this is the beta launch for it, I'm offering that at $777 for the duration of this class, but just today, it's going to be $677. And let me go ahead and try to drop the link in the chat if I can figure this out, because I'm really excited about this program. I really believe that it will offer a lot of value. I'm going to have to do it in the Facebook group because I can't find it in all of the tabs that I have open right now. So, but thank you so much for being here today. Tomorrow, we are going to finish up. Tomorrow is our last class. I can't believe it's going to be over soon. And so tomorrow, we're going to coach around those 6 months letters that you guys did. We're going to review everything. You can ask me any questions that you have, and then we're going to talk about how I'm going to coach you on getting action steps that you can take from your 6-month letter. So I'm going to coach you on getting to that next level of resourcefulness of what it is that needs to happen next. And then we'll conclude. So I did record today's class. Thank you so much for being here. Karuna, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure, and I was really, really honored to have you here. And thank you for staying on. And Michelle, thank you for coming back. Raquel, thank you for coming back. Susan and Shannon, thanks so much for coming back. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.